Alright guys, so we're going to be installing some springs in this VE Commodore today. Now this process will work for VE, VF, WM and WN. So whether you've got a Statesman or a Commodore, changing the rear springs out to be the same process. So if you're wanting to raise or lower your car, watch this video and it'll show you how to remove the rear springs out of your car and put them back in. And it's quite a simple process. It's a lot easier than what you might think. So yeah, if you think about doing it, save yourself some money, do it in your driveway, whatever. It's not all that hard. So we're going to be upgrading the rear springs on this VE Commodore today to heavy duty rear springs. So it's actually wood, if it didn't have any tools in it, would sit probably higher than a factory car in the back, but because it's got the tools in it, it should set it back somewhat to factory, about factory height, but so it'll be able to handle the weight better. So whether you're towing or just got tools in the back of this car, whatever, it's going to handle better with these springs in there. So that's why we're upgrading it. You could go springs and shocks, but as this car already handles really nice, there's nothing wrong with the shocks. For this particular car, we're just going to be upgrading the springs. But if you're upgrading the springs and shocks, the process is the same. Anyway, let's get into it. The rear off the scissor jack, you can sit it over this bit here. You'll see the cutout on the side skirt. That's a safe spot to jack it off, but also you can go off the floor pan on a solid part like that. Personally, I like to go off this bit. There's a big bolt just here for the subframe, so it's a nice solid spot for the rear. Off the front, I like to go off here. It's a nice solid spot again. Not going to dip that in, but again, you can go using a scissor jack. You'll slide it onto this bit here, jack it up there. Once you've got your car jacked up, you're going to want to go and take off your wheel nut caps. The VEs run a 22mm socket, so you want to get that. Rattle gun if you have. If you don't have a rattle gun, you're going to want someone to put the handbrake on right now so you can crack all your wheel nuts. But if you're lucky enough like me to have a rattle gun, then just rattle them off. Once you've got all your wheel nuts off, and you can remove the wheel. Alright, so now you've got the wheel off. You want to undo, don't take them all the way out, but there's 4 bolts in underneath on this strut. I like to do these inside ones first because this is the hardest to get to. The other 2 you can actually get with a rattle gun with the extension. So I take the inside ones off first and then do the back one, and then just undo the front one a little bit, but leave it in there just so it's got a little bit of leave the front one in there just so that it's still holding itself up, because after that we'll then unbolt the control arm and take the lower bolts off and the sway bar so that we can drop the strut out. So let's go ahead and crack these. I don't think this car's ever had the suspension out of it, so these might be pretty tight. So because you've still got pressure on the other side of this strut, you should be able to just undo these to a certain point, and then you can get up in there and just spin them out by hand. That's a plus side to not undoing them or cracking them all at the same time. Right, now you got those 2 out. Go ahead and crack these back bolts. You guys might not have access to a rattle gun, so we're doing that with the spanner, but these back ones is actually very easy to undo with the rattle gun. There you go. Now, like I said, just remember to leave this front one in. Just undo about halfway. Wait, it's got some still holding up there. So those are a 15mm bolt. Alright, so now we'll go underneath and undo the sway bar, which is 2 13mm. You want to do both sides. You just fold it down and unclick it. Now it's just going to help you drop that control arm down, just that little bit that you need just to be able to get the control arm down enough to get the strut out. Bolt sitting in there for now. Okay. Yeah, we'll pull that one out. You take this other bolt out now. See, and now you can drop that down enough that you can hang the strut out to the side and see how that didn't just drop. If I had left all the bolts out of that strut, when I just did that, I would have dropped the strut down on myself. So that's why you leave that other bolt up there, just as a safety, just to hold it there while you're undoing everything. Now we can go up and just undo that last little bolt and take the strut out. So we got that out. Just going to want to undo this other bolt. You should be able to just get this undone with your fingers. Shouldn't be tight. That's why you want to drop about halfway down. You don't give it enough play, it'll bind up when you do what I just did. Cool. Now that's out. And slide the strut straight out. Easy as that. Right, cool. So now it comes to the part we've got to compress this strut so that we can disassemble it and swap the springs over. So you might not have a spring compressor like this, but that's okay. You can get yourself spring compressors like these. They're readily available at most auto parts stores, like Super Cheap Persons, all that sort of thing. So they work just as good. And on that, like, you know, for a strut like this, it might be even easier to use that over what I'm doing, but I'm just used to use my strut tools. Plenty of different types of strut tools around. Some of them are even wall mounted. Slide this on, want to get about even on the spring. So then we'll just jack this down, get a bit of tension under that spring. If you don't have a rattle gun, you can put an Allen key in the top of this shock to undo that nut. So we'll just grab an 18mm socket. So the last socket that we just had on for the suspension, we can grab that and reuse that. Not meant to drop the nut. Right. The other thing you want to inspect when you're pulling your car apart like this is how your strut top bearing is. This one looks okay. Yeah, there's nothing really wrong with this, so sometimes you might have to replace that strut top mount. But this one looks fine, so we'll reuse it, which is lucky because I hadn't ordered that. Right, now we'll decompress it, take the pressure off the spring. Take this shock cover off. You'll remember the way this goes back on, so if you guys are a bit confused, you want to lay that out so that it makes sense to you. Then we've got the old spring out. We'll grab the new spring. Put that back together. Right. Okay, then you got that on. Put your strut top plate nut on. Spanner back on. Should probably put that on like that. Let's spin it. Cool. Do that nut up all the way. Now you're right to take the pressure off the spring. Cool. Once you got that off, take these mounts off. You got your complete strut ready to put back into the car. The old coil doesn't have as many coils at the top. This has got
more coils. Although these ones are spread out more. But then it's got the tighter 3 at the top. It's obviously designed to take the load better than what's in there. Overall, the height's basically the same. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of height difference we get. Whether it stays as low as it was in the back or whether it raises it up, because it should theoretically raise it up back up to stock height because it should take the load better. I was expecting the coils on this to be a lot thicker than the old coils, but they're about the same. It's just that it has the 3 bound up at the top, but then they're spread apart further here. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. But here's your complete strut, ready to go back in the car. All right. Yep, so to put it back in, it's just literally the reverse of what we did to take it out. So we'll get up underneath here. Now, it does make it a bit easier to put the strut back in if you now that you've got that sitting in like that. Just get back up the top and throw a couple more bolts in. Just help locate that strut top a little bit. So we can get that one in there now. Now remember, this bolt, when you put it back in, you don't want to put it through all the way because it's got a nut that's got to go on it before it beds itself across. At this point, it can be handy to have a rubber mallet. Don't use a steel one. This bottom one we've got lined up, so just tap that through just enough so that you can get the nut on. Right, so that's at the point now we can then rattle that up. And so the point now we can just rattle gun that up. So we've still just got to get this one through, which being a tiny bit stubborn. It's just not located. So when you're undoing that shock and the strut top, when you do it back up, you're not going to get it perfect how it was. That's why when you go to do this back up, it's going to be sitting a bit different. So you just got to give that a bit of a wiggle, and we should get that in pretty easy. That's pretty close now. I reckon if I just tap that, boom. That's where a rubber mallet comes in handy. Right, now before you do these bottom nuts up, I like to go back up the top and do the actual strut back up into the chassis of the car. Now with your sway bar, until you've done the other side, you want to leave that off. So that can just stay undone until you've done your other strut. Do them up to a couple dugger-duggers. Now if you've got all 3 lined up, again, this should just go back in pretty easy, this last bolt. Even though you've done these ones up, best just to chuck the spanner on there and just double check that. All right, now we can do up those bottom bolts, which again, you just got 18mm spanner and an impact gun socket. So you can slide this one up at the back. Yep, that one's done up. And that one's done up. I've actually gone and got some new tyres put on this thing because this thing needed some new tyres as well, so we've actually gone and put some new tyres on there from the boys down at Barwon Tyre and Auto. So they've helped us out, so I've just got to grab them out the back of the ute now and chuck them on. Right, Now you got the wheels back on, you want to drop the car back down. Now, just drop the car back down so the wheels are just touching the ground, because we don't want to do up the wheel nuts with a torque wrench. Now, a lot of people say doing it with a torque wrench is overkill, but I think it's just good practice. I use both Pedders and K-Sport racing suspension. I've used Pedders for years, over a decade. I love Pedders products, but as far as a full-on performance product, I've been leaning a lot more towards K-Sport racing lately. Nothing wrong with Pedders, but I just wanted to try something else out. So I'm driving down a gravel road and it's just handling amazing. It drives really good. It was actually a bit floaty in the rear before, which didn't really bother me because I'm used to driving with airbags. But yeah, you can really notice the difference. Well, this road is shocking, so it's a good test for it. It's funny, for the first time in my life I'm actually raising a car up. Or a Commodore anyway. I've raised plenty of four drives, but usually never raising a Commodore, but this is a bit of a different experience raising up a Commodore, but you know, when you need it. This is a tradie car that's full of tools, so the most practical thing that can be for this car is for it to be high and be able to tow trailers and things like that. You know, they look good lowered, but basically useless. All right.